Welcome to the Middleware Tech YouTube channel. In this series, you'll learn about CSS features. All code examples used in the videos will be available on GitHub. Let's get started.
About cascading a style set. So this is used to style HTML document. HTML document means all the HTML element. Element means we talked about body element, H1 element, anchor is an element. Then image is an element. All those elements, if I want to implement or create good look and feel, then I have to use CSS. Still now, the example that we have done, that is without using CSS by ourselves. So CSS is a standard for formatting web pages that goes well beyond the limitation of HTML. So CSS extends HTML with more than 70 style properties that can be applied to HTML tags. So we'll understand how I can implement CSS to our HTML tags. So if you see here in this example, I'm coming from basic to advanced step by step. If you see this slide, just see this slide. If you see this slide here, this is my HTML page. HTML is a root element, body, another one element, and H3 is an element, body, closing body, and closer HTML. Now, if you see here, this HTML and P element, it's a markup element of HTML. They have an attribute called style. So style is an attribute of body element and paragraph P element. That style has some value. What is the value? Background color yellow, background color red. So that style has some value. Style is an attribute of our HTML element. So that value will be applicable to your text. Bigger one, forget about it now. Now I want to create a separate HTML. So file, new, and file, save as. I'm going to put in the same location code, and this is CSS HTML CSS 1 dot HTML CSS 1 dot HTML, or you can write here. Last time we have used index, you can use here index 1 dot HTML. Next one. So I don't want to write the same thing. So once again, just copy something from here. Control-C. And you want to see all the functions step by step, I'll move, okay, without going directly into the actual bigger application. As body, as started. I'll see here when you're starting this HTML, and you should right. Fine. If you want to see this example, they have used some style for the body. So here you can use H1. Welcome to responsive UI. Responsive UI implementation. Fine. That I have written here. And if you want to write some text, paragraph. So for paragraph, you can copy some text from somewhere else. Assume copy some text from somewhere else. Control C. Okay. Now what I want is that I want to implement some CSS. Now here style will come. Style equal to coming. Fine. So that's it. So style equal to background color yellow. Now if you see, I have used this style for a particular element using style attribute. Save it and just execute and check how the fill it will come. If you see here, background color become yellow. That I have implemented using this style attribute. See here, paragraph style, I have defined background color colon red. Save it. And just implement once again. And you can see here, once we have implemented the CSS, I can implement background color for the body element, background color for the paragraph element. For two HTML element, I can implement the style using CSS. That is using style attribute for your. So I don't want to use background color. I want to H1. Style equal to font family equal to Times New Roman. So this is the font style for a particular text. So here I have implemented the style for a particular H1 element using font family as Times New Roman. And if you see whatever style you have, some more style I want to add, like font family Arial, color blue, font size 30 pixel. So file, save all and execute. Now, based on the features that just now I have implemented, it is looking like this. Page style, right? So you can use one of the attribute called text line equal and the property that is okay. So this I want to use text line equal to center. So this text will come in the center. Just check it is coming or not. Save all. That text should come in the center. Yeah. I will define here width 500, height use 200. So just save it and check once again how it look like. Yes. So it came like that. If you find there is no change, then you can make that width as 200. I can say and save all and just check how it came. Not getting any update. Width 200 and height also we have used 200, right? Okay, so the point is that HTML element we can define these properties. So div tag, already I told you, this div tag can be considered as a container that holds other page elements, and it is used to divide HTML document into sections. We can use this element to group together HTML elements and apply CSS style on this. So div tag, already I told you, it can work as a container. So you can create a container using div tag and you can implement what are things you want to put inside that. In this example, if you see here inside this div, I have created this table and I have provided the style for this div element. Same like earlier, background color something, text alignment something, width and height you have defined, right? Like this. Similarly, for a particular div tag, we can define text alignment, height, width, right? Fine. Now, don't save. So what are the CSS style that you find here? All are using style attribute for a particular style element, right? Now you'll get something more here in this example. So in this example, we try to understand how we can develop a web page that uses selector ID, selector class, and different type of style set. What does it mean by this? Okay, so see here, just you have to write something just without going into this. Let's understand this step by step. I'm talking about when I'm going to write a particular HTML file, I'm talking about here selectors. Actually, CSS will allow different types of selector. What is selector? Okay, let's write an HTML first. Demo.html file. So in demo.html file, I'm going to write an HTML. And let's understand from the basics itself. Head element. Control C, copy paste, we can do it, but we'll do it later. Let's do it with the basic first. Now inside that, I'm going to put one body. This body contain something. I have to close body, and then I have to close HTML. Fine. Now what I want is that I want to print some text. I have to print some text inside the body. So to print some text, you can put some paragraph. like today's total expense is rupees this much. Let's see. Fine. Now see, I want to implement some CSS style inside this. Okay. So one of the approach is that while I'm going to write the CSS, one approach is that you can directly write the CSS as a style equal to your CSS attribute. This is one approach. Another approach is that I don't want to write the style for each HTML element. Where I want to write the style, I want to write the style inside a separate HTML element style inside the header. So I can create a style element inside the head. So I have to create a separate HTML style element inside the head. Control C. So separate style element, right? And inside that, I want to write the style. This is another approach. Last example that we have done, if you see here, we are creating the style where for each and every element, I am writing the style. So in that case, what is the advantage of this? Disadvantage of this implementation is that same style, if it be applicable for other element also, I have to define that. I cannot reuse that style. Okay. See, if I need background font family Arial, I'm writing here. And if I need the font family Arial for this, so here also I'm just repeating the same feature. Like this way, same features can be repeated for multiple elements. Okay, right? I should reuse that. I should not repeat the same features. So now here, if I have 20 HTML element, so I have to repeat the same features for 20 HTML element. Without repeating the same features in 20 HTML element, what I'll do is that I'll put all the style in a single location. Single location, I'll write all the style and call this style for each element. Okay. So how it will be? So let me write some style here. Text line. This is one style. Okay. So text align equal to another style I want to implement like color. Okay. So color equal to I want to use like magenta. Okay. Another style I want to implement I want to use some font family. Okay. Font family equal to I want to define as Arial. Okay. And I want to define another style. Tell me which one I'll do, like a font size. Font size that I want to implement as 24 pixel. Right? These are the styles that I want to implement. So that style I can implement for this paragraph. Okay. Assume I have 3 paragraphs. Assume I have 3 paragraphs. And today's expense is this much. So assume this is tomorrow. Expense is this much. You can write day after tomorrow's total expenses this month. Assume. So I have total 3 paragraphs. Now I have to implement this style to this paragraph. One option, copy all the style and put as an style attribute. Style equal to just copy and paste all. But in that case, you are writing, you're not reusing your styles. I should always reuse something. So in this approach, how to reuse this? Whatever styles we have, these styles I am to implement for this paragraph as well as this paragraph. I want to implement this style. How? So the approach is that is called selector. So there is 2 approaches there. Using selector, we can apply styles to my HTML element. What I'm saying here, I'm talking about selector. I'm talking about selector. What is the selector? Using selector, we implement a style for each HTML element. So what does it mean? Actually, CSS will allow to specify your own selector. CSS will allow to specify your own selector. So how it is, actually CSS will support 2 types of selector. There's 2 types of selector is there. 2 types of selector. One type of selector that is called ID. Another type of selector is called class. Okay. So how I can use these 2 types of selector to implement the style for my HTML element? Let's see here. I'm talking about the selector called ID. Now see, the ID selector that you're talking about here, ID. This ID selector is used to specify style for a unique element. Okay, again I'm saying this ID selector is used to specify a style for a unique element. How it is? See here. Here I want to implement this style for these elements. Assume for this element I want to implement. So what I'll do for element, this element I have to get an attribute called ID equal to some value I have to define. Which value it is? It is the value that I am defining here to define these styles. So these styles I want to implement, just put them inside a curly brace. And this I want to implement like has paragraph. Now this style has a particular name called paragraph, so that I can implement this style. So the name of these styles is paragraph. As I put all these styles inside a curly brace, and this name should point out to this ID. So what will happen is that now all these styles be implemented inside this paragraph element. Now what I want to implement this styles for the second element also. So what I'll do, just write here id equal to control V paragraph. Now this styles will be applicable for this two element. Okay, so let me check it is working or not. Let me check, is it working? Okay, copy this, control C. Let me create another one page called index2.html. File new, control V, and file save as. Make it index2.html desktop code and make it here index2.html. Save it. Now you can see this style contain this. This is my body. This is also body. HTML. Save it. Now just execute this. Now if you see this page, how it look like. So you can see the style that I have implemented that came because I have used the style as right. Text alignment is right. So make this text alignment center. Save it. It is coming here. So just save it and check it came center. Because CSS style being implemented in this text. That's why it's coming. Now, when you have implemented the CSS, we have used the selector called ID. Remember, ID selector is implemented, or the selector ID is used to specify style for a unique element. So one point we got here is one point we got, that is selector ID. Selector ID is used to specify style for a unique element. Selector ID is used to specify style for an unique element. Yes, we have implemented and it is working fine. Right? Fine. Similarly, we have another one style is there that is called class. Class. So what does it mean by class? Okay, and how I can implement that? So actually this class selector is used to specify a style for a group of element. How it is? Assume you want to implement class selector. Assume. So control C. Assume this is an index3.html. I'm talking about class selector. Just see here, same example I'm going to implement as a class selector. So in case of class selector, what we'll do, assume I'm going to print. Okay, if you want to write something else, leave it. Let me create it once again. Then helpful. Now this is the text. Now assume I want to print not price, just write here at house India, and next you can write here Google India, and next right here IPM. Just write here some of the company names. Fine. Now what I want to do is that I want to implement same style to all of them. Okay, I want to implement same style to all of them. So that means I want to implement same style to group of element. What are the styles? Assume the style I want to give, like assume a style that I want to implement, I want to use text alignment as center, text line, okay, as center. Okay, I want to use some style like color as red. Color you can use as red. Okay, then you can use font size. Okay, font size as 20 pixel. Fine. So this is the style I want to implement, and this style I want to implement for all the elements, for a group of elements. Remember, to implement a class, the CSS class selector is used to specify a style for group of element. That is our topic now. We are talking about selector class style is used to specify style for a group of elements. Okay, or group of elements. Okay, so if it is the requirement, okay, then what I can do here is like so you have to put all those styles in a curly brace. Okay, put all the style in a curly brace, and now these styles I want to implement for all the elements. So it is what type of class style. So class means your attribute will be class equal to some value. If you see here, this attribute is class equal to some value. This attribute is class equal to some value. Right. So what is that value? That value is nothing but the name of these styles. So how to define that? If you remember, class style is always defined using dot. Okay, use some unique name. Okay, to identify this. Assume some unique name. Okay, so dot custom. So you remember, class style is always defined using dot. ID style is always in the last example. This is an ID style. ID style is always defined using has. And ID is for each element. Whereas class style is being defined using dot. And it is for group of element. That's why same style you are going to apply for all. Because class style is used to apply. This is one approach. We'll talk about different approach. So this is one approach how we can implement class style for group of element like this. Let's see it is working or not. Just copy this code. This is index3.html. Create another one HTML. File new. Control V. File save as. Make it as index3.html. and put it inside desktop code. So you can save it, file, save all, and have. So this is your custom, and this you can close the style, and you can make it as body. This is your written inside body, and this is your HTML. Save it, file, save all. Just execute this. Let me check how it look like. Yes, you can see here. You have applied same style to all the text. So if I'm going to implement same style to all the text, then I can go for the selector called class. All the text means a group of element, right? So this is the difference between ID selector and class selector. This is the difference between ID selector and the class selector. Fine. Okay. Now, right, so because why you are going with this like this, because you have to use this in all the coming. So these are all the basics that we are talking about. We should know these basics, then only we can work on the advanced level. You should not have any doubts on this. If any doubts, you can tell me, we'll clarify. Now, next is that if you see these examples just now we have done either ID selector or class selector. In both the scenario, this style that you are going to implement, right? So from where you are getting this style? This style you are getting from the same page style element. From the same page style element. So style is coming from the same page. That means in your application, if you have 500 pages, so for 500 pages, you are going to repeat styles in 500 pages. Again, I'm saying, if you see this example, for the first page, we have written some style here inside the style element. In the second page, we have written style inside the style element. Assume that in your project, you have total 500 pages. That means you have to write this style element 500 times in each page. That means you are going to repeat the same code, right? We should not repeat the same code. So the solution is that we will put these styles in a single file. We'll put or a separate file. That file is called external style set. So I should not write the style in the same page. We should write the style in a separate file that is called .css file. So where is this file should be? Just see, this is our folder location. Folder location in the code folder. We should create a particular folder here. Its name should be CSS. So all the CSS files should be available inside this CSS folder. Just see here. I want to create a CSS file. File, new, file, save as, Assume my file name is, this is a CSS file, right? Go to desktop, code, CSS folder. Assume my file name is demo.css. Okay? This is .css file. What I'm doing inside this file is that I'm going to write this CSS code, whatever you have written here. Okay, whatever you have written this CSS code here, just I want to copy this CSS code. Copy means cut, Control X. There is no CSS code in index2.html. So where is the CSS code? I'm going to write the CSS code inside this CSS file. Save it. So the CSS code I've shifted inside a CSS file. Just see here, inside this curly braces, right? Save it, file, save all. Right now, what I want to do is that assume my name is P. You can write a P because this is an ID selector, right? You can name it as a P, no issues. Want to do some formatting like this, it's fine. Do some formatting like this, fine, save it. Now this CSS P we are talking about is an ID selector. Why? How to understand the ID selector? I am using has. So ID selector is applicable for each element, correct? So this CSS is defined where? Inside demo.css file. So how this demo.css file will be accessible inside my HTML? First, I have to make this file should accessible inside this HTML file. So how it should be accessible? To make it accessible, we have to write one element that is called link. Remember this link. See here it came link. Link rel equal to style set means I want to get the style set. Type is text/css. From where that location I have to define using ref. From where I'm going to get it? From the CSS folder. CSS folder, I have demo.css from there. That's it. We have defined the link. What this link is doing? This link is used to get the demo.css file to my page so that the page it is creating a link between HTML page and the CSS page. And rest of the things are same. What is the name? This is an ID selector. Name is P. So I have to access them for each element using the name P. I have to access them for each element using the name P. That's it. Save this file, save all. Now I want to execute. Let me check it is working or not. Yes, it is working. So it's working how it is working. But in this example, it's working using external style set. Hence, the style is not available in the same page. It is available in a separate file. Why I am doing this implementation? Advantage is that if I have 1,000 pages in the project, then all the 1,000 page can reuse a ID selector that is defined inside my CSS file. That is the advantage. That's why we should always use this approach to create an external style set for each HTML page, as we have done here, right? So if I want to implement the same concept for our class selector, if I want to implement the same concept for our class selector, so what I'll do, so just copy this link, go to HTML. For class selector, I want to implement, right? So for class selector, where it is, this is. So what I want to do, just copy your style, just cut, Control X. Where I have to put, I have to put inside demo.css. So put it inside demo.css, Control V. Just see, it is a class selector. How to understand? It is starting with dot. These are the attributes for class selector we have used. These are the attributes for class selector, right? And this is how. Now I have to implement, first I have to make available this file inside my HTML. So how it will be available? Just remove this style element and create one element called link. Create one element called link. So link. I'm going to link with which for linking I have to use one rel attribute. It's going to map, means what I'm going to link. I'm going to link with a style set. Okay, so what type? Type is text/s type. Okay, so ref is what that is defined inside CSS file demo.css. That's it. So linking is also done. The current page index3.html. So if this linking is done, then I can apply class CSS or class selector in my current HTML page. What is selector name? Class selector is custom. Yes, this custom we are going to implement for these elements. Yes, it should work. Let me execute and check it's working or not. Right, save all and just run this. And it's running. It's running, right? So that was we're talking about here is just save it, file, save all, right? Okay. So we're talking about these two types of selector, but in this examples using external style set, right? So both the CSS file is working using external style set. Right. So now you'll say that what is the earlier implementation when I'm using the style like this? So what type of style it is? This is called inline style. Okay. This is called inline style. Okay. Now when I'm going to write the style inside here, when I'm going to write the style here using this style. Okay. So what is this style? This is called internal style set. And if I'm going to write the style like this is called external style set. So style set we can implement in three approach. But I'm going to say, I'm saying here that we can implement style in three approach. What are those? First one is inline style. Which one? I'm going to define the style for an element in the same location. Style for element in the same location. Next, internal style. Internal style, which is this one. Style for element in the style element. Define style for element inside style. Third one, external style. What is that external style? Define a style for element inside a file. This is the third one. Inside file. Right? So we can implement a style three different way or three different approach, and we should be clear about all these three different approach. Fine. Okay. So let's move with some other features that is called CSS background. First, we talked about all these things, then only we can implement them in our web page. So that we are going to talk about step by step, just to clear out ourselves with all the features. So once we'll complete, you'll find the recording in the communication window itself, and you can go with the recording and you can implement that from your side. Okay, so let me complete it first. Okay, so next one is that I'm going to talk about CSS background. So what does it mean by CSS background? CSS background is nothing but we can use CSS background properties to define background effect of an element. Okay, you can say use CSS background properties, okay, to define background effect on an element, to define background effect of an element. Effect of an element. Okay. So how it is? How it is? So assume you have one file. So let's take the last example only you have created, right? Without creating the same things multiple times. Let's take this last example you have created. Control C. Assume it is name is. Assume its name is index4.html. Index4.html. So what I want to do is that I don't want to define, this is my style element is okay. And I want to implement some style for this company that is being given. Assume it is written, assume I just want to change something, assume it is H1. Header element H1. Okay, and then I want to implement here H2. Okay, and I should close it here H2. And I want to implement here H3. Okay, and I want to close it here for H3. So I have total 3 element. What I want to just I'm to making it like this. So what I want is that I want to implement background color for H1, H2, and H3. For H1, so I want to implement background color H1, H2, and H3. Right. So background color is one of the properties, one of the CSS property that we are talking about here. CSS background, one of the CSS property. We have to know that how I can implement that CSS background for an element, right? So you can see it's clear. H1, H2, H3, those are HTML element, right? And we have to implement the style for this element. So I can use internal style. So in case of internal style, I have to define the style for H1. Okay, so let me write it once again. Delete. I have to define the style for H1. Fine. So H1, H1, I have to define the style. This one I'm talking about. This style I'm going to define here. So if this style you are going to define here, so how to define the style? H1, curly brace, opening and closing. So which style I want to define for H1? Like I'm talking about CSS background here. So you can write here background color. Now you have to remember that how to remember, right? So you can write here background color is black, something like that. Okay. Similarly for H2, I have to define some background color for H2. Okay. So fine, just copy, Control C. Define the background color for H2, Control V. So for H2, I have to define background color. Fine. So if it is, so what we can define for H2? Background color is yellow. Okay. For H3, similarly, I can define a background color. So define Control V for H3. And background color is, you can make it as red, or you can make it as green, as you wish, right? So like this way, I can implement background color for a particular HTML element, and that will be applicable to your element here. And that you are implementing using background color attribute. Let me check it's working or not. Any one of the style you can use because this is not a project code, right? In case of project code, it is always recommended that you use external style set. In case of project code, right? Okay, so let's see how it look like. Just copy, Control C, and here I want to implement some code like file, new, Control V, and file save as index4.html, file save as desktop code, and just write here index4.html. Okay. So this is my head. This is the style. And you can close the head. This is your body. Body also, and close the HTML. Save it. I'll save all. Right, like fine, save it. File, save all. Okay, so here it should work. Let me check. Yes, it's working. TOS India, Google India, IBM India. Fine. Now, so it's working, and you have implemented background color, right? And this is one of the CSS property, and this is how we can implement, right? So background color, why I'm saying it separately, just to understand that property without any doubt. Now, once it's clear, then I can implement in my project code, because in the project application, you'll find lots of property. Okay. So since we're starting first time, we should implement it using a single separate attribute, then it will be clear. All the attributes will come together. The second attribute we talk about, another important CSS attribute, that is background repeat. Okay, background repeat. So how it work, background repeat. So to understand it, let's create another one page, same page. It's not same page. I want to change the code just to get the structure. Okay. See here, talking about, just remove them. Whatever is written, delete. Just to get the structure we have written here. Okay, so this is the page structure, right? Talking about background repeat. So to understand background repeat, what we'll do is that let's take an image, and using an image, let's understand that concept of background repeat. Okay, so right, so what we can do is like in style, take some here in the body part and use some text. You can use h1, but welcome to CSS3. Oh, you have not yet came CSS3 still now. CSS. Welcome to CSS. It's last one, right? Okay. Just save it. Now, if you see here, uh, yeah, we want to use background repeat. So background repeat, I want to implement for a particular page. Okay, so let's see, or for a particular image. So take a particular image first. Let's see, I'm going to take one particular image for a body itself. So body, I need to define it for the body. So you can use body. And use body element, right? Body element, I need to define this style. Right. So what I can define here is like body element. I want to use some background image. Okay. Background image. So background image, where is the background? I mean, let me check, is there any images there inside my folder? Inside, yes, we have one image, but let's see, I'm using this logo itself. So Control C. So what I want is that I want to use background image as URL. Okay, and define the path here. Okay, Control V slash for the image name. Right click, rename. Control C. So we can write here Control V dot PNG. That's it. So we have defined one image inside this path. So that we have defined inside background image. Background image. Fine. Now, what I'm talking about background repeat, I want to repeat this image horizontally. Okay. So what I'll do for this, I can define here background. Okay. Repeat. Repeat. I'll define as in horizontal direction. Repeat X. If you want to make it in vertical direction, you can use Y. Let me check it first. It is working or not. Here also you can make it slash. Right. So this is my body, and that I have implemented this style. I implemented this body element, right? And it's fine. It should work. Let me check it's working or not. Control C and get separate HTML like index5.html. So you can use file new. Control V, file save as, and save it with index5.html. And go to code and make it here index5.html. 5.html. Right. So this is the image. I can just make some formatting. This is my inline style. This style I've implemented. This is header you have implemented, and this is our body. Right. For body, we have defined this style as background image and background repeat. Let me check it is working or not. File, sorry, cancel. File, save all. So let me check it is working or not. Fine. So what I'll do, just run it from here. Refresh. So where it is not coming, right? So chicken is very PNG is a file extension. Right click properties. .png is the file extension. Images. So is there anything else that we have changed? Anything else? We can do one thing is that just put this image. It's already there, right? Images folder. This images folder only. That's it. Because my save all. Sometimes you may not come, so try to use some. Let me check. File save all. Okay. Now see here in the X direction it gets repeated. Right? In X direction it gets repeated. Same image. Okay, now if I want to repeat in Y direction, repeat Y, file, save all. Just see in the Y direction it gets repeated, right? So let me check in Z direction is also there, 3 dimension. Save all. Just see here, it took the complete page. Okay, right? So if so that is the use of this background repeat. If you want to repeat some image, so that can be repeated based on how you're going to implement that one. Fine. So that is a background repeat. Okay, right? That you're talking about here. Similarly, we have another one attribute that is called background position. We have another one attribute called background position. So how this background position will work? Define background position, take it the same page, take the same structure. You are going to take the structure. Let's talk about background position. So assume my page name is index6.html, and we want to define this image that is defined inside this image folder, images folder. Okay, and I talked about background position. So I want to use here background position as I can define right top. Okay, and define right top. Fine. So right top, this image will come, right? And this is a property for body element. So you can see it in the body element itself, background position. Let me check it's coming or not. There is a total different types of background position is there. So let's implement it first. Create another one HTML as index6.html, file new, and make it here as index6.html. File save as desktop code. Just put it here as index6.html. Okay. It will come under style. Okay. So under body, this is the body, and this is HTML. Now I want to put this background position as right and top. There is different types of background positions is there. You can check colon. See here, bottom, center, left, right, top. So I want to use right. Okay, and top. So like this way you can define. Let me check it's coming or not. Save it, file, save all, and let me check. This is index 6, right? So how it is, just take it on the right. file, save all. Do one thing, take some other image. Let me take some other image, like used some images here. Take some JPG file, okay. Take some JPG file, okay. File, save image as a JPG in the desktop. Now what I want is that so what is this is the image. Now this image I want to implement, right click, put it here, right click, cut and paste it in the same folder. Now this image I have used as see the property .jpg. So if it is .jpg dot jpg, right? Okay, so save all. And here you have his background position as right. For body element. All right, top. Let me check it is working or not. Just run this. So where is your image? Is not coming. So this is not this. This is a download.jpg. File, save all. And if we execute, so it is coming like this, but I want to use it only right side. Or save. No. See, when talking about this, okay, here we have another one property. It will work like this. We have to use this property, then only it will work properly. Background no repeat. Okay, or background repeat is no repeat. Just you have to use this property. If you use this property, then you will not get it repeated. Save all. Select and run. Yes, it is not repeating, right? I want to move it and top right. File save all. Top right. So using this property, you can define the actual position, right? Bottom left. File save all. Just open, we can see bottom left. So using this, we can background position. You can define an image position, based on your requirement. So like this way, we have some other properties. Not writing all. We have some other properties also, like we have text decoration. For text decoration, we talked about text formatting. Text formatting just now we talked about, but that we have to implement using CSS. Like I want to implement text color. How I can define text color? Text color you can define like for a particular element. The style I have to use. I want to body. I have to define text color for all the text that is defined inside the body element as color colon blue using CSS style, right? Then it will be applicable blue to all. Then I have to implement text alignment. Text alignment. So if I want to implement text alignment for a particular element, assume for a particular element I want to implement like paragraph. I want to implement text alignment. For a paragraph, if I want to implement text alignment, so what is the property you are going to write? You can use like text alignment as left. Text alignment as left, like this, so that the text will come in the left side. Text alignment is center, so that the text will come in the center, right? So like this way, we can define right? Okay, now save it. File, save. Right, fine. Now take some other properties, like we have another one property called text transformation. Okay, these are the all CSS basic property. When these things are clear, automatically when you implement the application, bigger application, things will not be tough. Let's talk about another property called text transformation. Okay. So for text transformation, what does it mean by text transformation? Is like means when you are you'll move with the text, you know. When you're moving above the text, either you can just hover, or you can click a particular text, okay, or assume you have not at all visited that link anytime you're doing first time. So there is different scenarios there how the text color will change. Okay, in 3 different scenario, the text color will change. As for example, let me show it using an example. It is better. This structure. Control C. Assume this is index 7.html. Okay. Now what I want to do is that let's remove this. This we have done last time, and so what I want is that assume you have some link. Okay. So how to define a link? Assume you have some link inside body. Assume this is the link. A href, a href equal to, you have some link, some HTML page, something it is. Okay. So click here to click here, or something like that. Okay. Click here. And you can close that link. Okay, and like this. So this is the link that you want to click. What you're talking about is that I'm talking about text transformation, CSS text transformation. So for CSS text transformation have some property like you can make it an uppercase, lowercase, or capitalize. Okay. So assume, let me complete it first. Assume it is H1 itself. Okay. H1. H1. Okay. And Control C. And you have another one. H2. Okay. And home here. Okay. So I have to text. Now what I want is that I have to implement CSS text transformation, right? So for H1 as well as for H2. So what I have to do? So just define the properties for H1. Okay. So just define it for H1. So you have to put inside curly brace. What I have to do? Text as transformation. Okay. Colon. In which format I want to make it completely uppercase. Okay. Uppercase. Semicolon. Fine. Similarly, the H2 I want to do it completely in lowercase. Okay. So just copy, Control C, Control V. So I define it for H2. Text transformation is lowercase. Okay, fine. And you can define the body H1 and H2. Okay, fine. So let's see it's working or not. Similarly, we have capitalize also. Okay, so let's see. Control C and create a separate page. HT index 7.html. File new. Control V and file save as. Go to desktop code and put it here as index 7.html. Now, if we implement this, this is our head. Okay, this is the style. Right. Fine. So file save all. Let me check it's working or not. Just run this. It should come. So just see here. No, it's not working. Just save. It's not working. So here H1 we have used uppercase. Colon. Uppercase or H1. And for H2, I'm using lowercase. Right. So it should work. File save all. It is not working. It should come in lowercase, right? Something wrong. H1, H2, head style, body, HTML. Or this attribute should come text transformation by default, colon, lower is not coming, capitalize. Okay, we'll check it. Lowercase. File save all. I'll check this. Okay. Whereas I'll talk about the next property that is called CSS link. This will be the last property for today. And then I'll suggest to go with the example that we have done today, because tomorrow we'll move with slight advanced from today. So let's complete the next one, that is CSS link. Okay. Now in CSS link, what we want to do is like that if I create a particular link, and that link should come in different color. Okay, So there is 4 types of CSS link property. One is called unvisited link, visited link, hover, as well as active. So 4 types of properties there for CSS link. So to understand that is an example. So let's take that structure. Control C. Okay, and fine. So assume my page name is index8.html. Talking about 4 types of link is there. One type is called visited link. Second type is there, that is called visited link. Third type is called hover. And the fourth type is called active. 4 type of implementation you'll find deal with a link. Okay, so let's see how I can implement this using CSS, right? So to implement this, let me define first one link here. Okay, let's define it as a link. So how to define a link? A ref equal to some login.html, something. Okay, click here, fine, and you're going to close the anchor tag. Anchor tag is closed here. That's it. One link we have created. Fine. Now what I want is that for this link, okay, I want to define the style, CSS style, or CSS link style I want to implement. So how I can implement? So define this for this link. So for this link, I want to implement CSS style like. So I have to implement for this anchor tag, right? So for anchor tag a colon, which style I want to implement? First I want to implement as a colon link. Okay, so if you have not at all visited, then its color, okay, should be yellow. Okay, second style, see here, so all are for the same link only. A colon visited, okay, visited if you are visiting first time, if you are visited first time, okay, and once you have visited, its color will be blue. Color will be blue. Okay, and you have not at all clicked, you have just hovering, you know, over the link. So when you are going to hover, you're going to hover the link, you know, so I want this color should be red. Okay, and at the end you should provide on some semicolon, you know. And another one property is there that is called active. Active means a link which just have been clicked now only. That is called active state. So you can define a colon active. Okay, and its property we can define it like this: color as green, like this. Okay, so you can define it like this. like this, right? So we have these 4 types of property. So those property we have implemented in CSS style for a link, and this is my link. So let me check whether these properties are working or not for the same. Okay, so let me save it, file save. Okay, and let's execute it. Control C. Okay, and create a separate HTML called index8.html. File new. Control V and save it with index8.html. File save as desktop code. Make it here index8.html. Save. Right, fine. So this is the head. This is the style that we have defined for the anchor element using CSS link. And this is my body that have a link. Let me check whether these links are working or not, right? So file, save all, okay, and just execute this. So just see here, the yellow color is coming when you hover. So the color become red. This is hover. I have not yet clicked. Yellow, not visited. Hover, red. Now if I click, just see here, just click, active become green. Just click, active become green, right? And it's already visited, right? Right? So visited will work as a blue, right? So you can see all the features is visible and it's working fine, right? So that you have to implement, right? So these are different CSS styles are there.